buyers. So the last couple of years, like we joked that you had to sell your lung on the black market to get an accepted offer. It was just a crazy market. It was bad.
I know
So
what you mean, though. That's funny.
yeah, a lot of first-time buyers were having their parents pay cash for them because they couldn't get anything accepted.
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is the Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. All right, welcome back to the Closing Table. My name is Kevin McIntosh. Joining us on this episode, we will be speaking with Tina Peterson of the Tina Peterson team. How you doing, Tina?
I'm doing great. Glad to join you this morning on this Monday morning.
I know, beautiful day. Can't complain at all. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. So you obviously manage a team, the Tina Peterson team. Let's talk about your team and the markets that you currently serve right now.
Yep. So I started in real estate in 2009, and in right around 2016 started to get busy enough to where I couldn't handle all of the volume that was coming in and provide the service that our customers have come to expect from us. So I started growing the team, and I now have a partner, Kim Koss, who was one of my first team members. So I've hired a partner or taken on a partner. And we have about 10 agents. And the agents, we kind of made sure that we have them throughout the Metro Detroit area. So we've got Livonia, we've got Owasso, we've got Saline, Ann Arbor, Chelsea, Howell, Brighton. So most of our stuff is Livingston County and Washtenaw County, but we made sure that we have a good amount of agents to distribute throughout that community to be able to handle everybody that comes in.
Nice. And I believe we'll be speaking with Kim too. So it'll be nice to speak to your teammate in regards to the team structure and things of that nature.
She's fantastic. You'll love her. You'll see the reason why I took her on as a partner.
Nice. Cool. So let's talk about the business of real estate. As of right now, the latest data from the Mortgage Bankers Association, MBA, shows mortgage applications increased last week by 7% compared to the week before. Now, what type of mortgages are most buyers applying to when it comes to today's market?
So I think most of them are going to be conventional. We are getting back into, when it was the hot market in the last couple of years, it was only conventional and cash is pretty much all we saw. We were having a hard time getting FHA, VA, and rural development loans accepted, but we are now seeing those back in the market. It's slowing down a little bit in certain areas. It depends on the house. Right. So most of them are still conventional, but we are getting some accepted that are back in the FHA and the VA and those loans. The confidence, I think, in people making more applications in the last week is probably knowing that the market's not just going to crash, and it's the interest rates are not going to go back down probably as substantial or as as fast as they went up. They're probably not going to come back down that quick. So I know people held off for a while. I think they got a little bit freaked out about the interest rates going up. Right. And I think they've realized that it's probably going to stay right about what it's at now. So I think they're feeling a little bit more confident on shopping for their house now, getting back in the market.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's two things that you just mentioned I have to kind of step back into. One, you said you had a hard time kind of getting FHA loans and VA loans approved. FHA loans, for anyone who doesn't know, is usually the route that most first-time home buyers go. That's a program most first-time home buyers use. Why do you feel, or why do you know that some of those FHA loans weren't going through exactly?
So much competition. There was little inventory and a lot of buyers. So the last couple of years, like we joked that you had to sell your lung on the black market to get an accepted offer. It was just a crazy market. It was bad. So,
I know what you mean, though. That's funny.
Yeah, a lot of first-time home buyers were having their parents pay cash for them because they couldn't get anything accepted. So it was just a weird market. I think we're coming back down a little bit more to a normal market. So that's a good thing.
I think that's starting to be the consensus. Another thing, what you in that statement you spoke on, with a lot of people taking the conventional mortgage route. So with that route, a lot of people assume that you have to put 20% of the purchase price down. Is that true? Was that the case with that competitive market at the time?
No, in fact, people were backing down their 20% down, even in the competitive market, so that they had money to contribute to an appraisal gap. So even when it was busy. But right now, no, you can get a conventional loan. I think it's the lowest is 3%. But you can get a conventional loan, yeah, as low as 3%. So no, you can go that route without having the 20% down payment.
Okay. Okay. Let's get into your selling process right now. So I want to kind of do something with this. First, let's talk about what's the longest time it has taken you to actually sell one of your listings, get one of your listings set. I'm talking about from the day that you accepted it to the day of closing. Longest.
So I had one that was 2 years.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
the
but it
patience
was
you
in
have.
it was in a bad market, and I had a investor who got a fantastic deal on a house, and the house was stunning. It was a mansion, but it was in an area that it doesn't have mansions, and he way over improved it. So we started off at, like, I want to say 800,000, which comparatively in the market now would probably be 1.5 million. As far as when that was.
Right.
And then I think we ended up closing it at about 450, I think. So, but that was just a pricing in the area, location, location, location.
Right.
So that was really the reason it didn't sell. It was just over improved for the area.
That is a new one, and I'm glad you said that. Can you speak more on over improving in a certain neighborhood? Like why is that a bad thing? What is that exactly? And like, what are the factors that go into it? Can you explain that a little bit more?
In this one, the area was Southfield. It was literally a block from Farmington Hills, which Farmington Hills schools are fantastic.
Right.
But Southfield, when you're comparatively looking at the comps, there were no comps to support that. There was no houses like that, so it was literally the nicest house in the whole city.
Right.
So, people didn't want to pay that. And even driving down the street to go to the house, you were driving past little old shacks to get to this big mansion. So people who want to buy a house like that don't want to have to drive past the little old shacks that are falling apart to get to their.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so there was a lot that went into that. It was it was a weird time. It was a down market. But yeah, I want to say that's probably the reason why it was over improved, because it was literally the nicest house in the whole city.
That is an interesting thing to always consider now as a homeowner, right? Because I mean, when you have a home, you obviously, in most cases, if you're taking care of it, you want to improve it in some ways, right? Make the landscape better, and the roofing and the foundation, everything. Not only that, but sometimes you're doing cosmetic, aesthetic work, and you're adding on to it. But then you have to consider the fact that there's a value that you probably don't even want to exceed because of the neighborhood that you're in. And that's something I don't think a lot of people consider also. So that story was a good one. I'm glad you brought that perspective to the table also. So let's talk about the shortest time. 2 years for the longest time, shortest time that it's taking you to sell.
0. So literally it was getting the signatures on the listing, getting the photos. So we always do the photos regardless of whether or not, unless we have a buyer that we take through. But we had qualified buyers at the time that were looking in the neighborhood where we had the listing, got the pictures, sent them out to the people who were looking in that neighborhood, and sold it before it listed.
Wow. Okay. So I feel like there's obviously a difference between the two. Like with you taking 2 years to sell and it closing basically instantaneously. But besides that, can you speak on, just on average, what are the difference in methods possibly between you taking or not even you, but between it taking a long time for a property to sell and for you taking like maybe the shortest time to sell? What are the different methods?
I would say no matter if you think the house is going to sell fast or not, there is a process that you should go through, because in the hot market where people didn't want to put up a sign, people didn't want to take pictures, they were out there with their iPhones trying to take pictures of the house. The first impression is online, no matter how fast you think it's going to sell.
Right.
And so there is a process that you need to go through. So we do pre-marketing. There's a lot to it. I mean, I would be here probably for 2 hours explaining to you our listing strategy, but
Okay.
there's pre-marketing, there's photographs, there's sending it out and scrubbing the clients that we have that are already qualified that are looking with that same criteria and sending it out to them. There's social media. Social media is huge. We've sold a lot of properties on social media before they go on the market, and there's criteria with that. So yeah, there is a lot to it. It's not just you take the paperwork and put it online, and especially now that we're in a normal market. In the normal market, it's going to take more marketing than it did before. But I feel like your consistency of doing the same thing every time with your marketing helps. It helps your reputation, helps the seller get more money for his house. Yeah, so that's it's important whether or not it's selling slow or fast.
Okay. I could agree with that. Yeah. Whatever works, stick to it, double down on it. There's a quote that I found on your profile. I want you to elaborate on this. It says, quote, providing the best possible service with experience, honesty, and integrity, end quote. Can you talk about what it means to have integrity in real estate?
Yes. So when I first got into the market, I was like completely shocked at the reputation that real estate agents had. And actually, if you even go on Google and you Google real estate agents are and see what it pre-fills, it's really, really sad. So that was as soon as I found that out, that was my motive, or the direction that I wanted to go with real estate, was bringing that reputation back up to where we aren't just salespeople. One of the more recent phrases that we've begun using is people over paychecks. So it's the same type of thing, but it's being honest. It's not being a salesperson and doing whatever you need to do to get that paycheck in your pocket. It's more caring about the people that you're working for, the community that you serve, making sure that you're doing things that are honest to where people understand that if you say something to them, you're being truthful with them, and they.
There you go. There you go. I think that's the same with any profession, any business. Do it with integrity, not just to get the sale. You want, first of all, it's word of mouth. Word of mouth and referrals, just the most strongest influence when it comes to business and consumerism. So keep the integrity, treat people well. They'll bring you more people, and they'll keep coming. Oh, thank you, Tina.
Exactly.
That was come
Absolutely.
on. Goodness gracious. All right. I saw you and your team over the holidays. You hosted a Take Pictures with Santa, free Pictures with Santa event. I'm looking like, that's great, but that has nothing to do with real estate, Tina. Can you please tell me why hosting free events that has what I would think nothing to do with real estate, how does that benefit you?
So that's part of serving the community you work for, and giving back. And so we started doing that in 2020. We started in our own office, and so we had the space, and we decided we wanted to do something. And so we started. That was our first Christmas in our new building. And so we hired a Santa, and we put it out there in the community, and it was so popular that it has grown every year. Nice. And after the first year, I had people reaching out to me saying the next year, hey, are you going to do that again? And I said, yeah, I guess we are. So the first year, I think we did it for 2 hours. We had the Santa slotted for, and we literally had people lined up. Because it was COVID, we made sure that we did them in time slots so everybody wasn't in the building at the same time. But we did them every 5 minutes, and we were booked for the 2 hour solid.
There it is.
Then we turned around and did it the following year, and now it's something that people are kind of expecting. But that's one of the things that the whole team, we all completely believe that we should be contributing to the communities, being involved in the community. I myself and the team contributes to this. I am president of a nonprofit, and so we rescue service dogs and place them in prison training programs to be. We rescue shelter dogs, and we place them in prison training programs to be service dogs for veterans. So I got involved with that as being part of the veteran community and sales and selling homes to. And it was brought to my attention from one of my veterans. So I kind of got into it and got passionate with it and ended up doing a fundraiser and then ended up being on the board. So
Nice.
we do a lot with the community. We try to do it as much as we can to give back and contribute.
Got a good heart, Tina.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
I try. I try.
Beautiful. I saw that you were also, your team, you and your team, you made the cover of Real Producer Livingston County as well as Real Producers Oakland County. Can you talk about these awards and who do they come from and the significance of these specific recognitions?
So it's always good to be recognized for your hard work, and that's exactly what it is. Those specific magazines are referral magazines. So someone has to refer you to be on the cover or to be in the magazine. And then there's certain criteria that you have to have. So on the cover of, you have to be the top 50 agents in the MLS. So on the cover, it's very strict. So being on the cover of 2 is like incredible, but being on the cover is very strict. I think you have to be in the top 300 or 500, I can't remember which it is, to be in the magazine. So there's certain criteria that you have to have as far as your sales and your production, and then you have to be what do I want to say? Not volunteered, but somebody has to recommend you for you to be able to be in there, and then they interview you and they say, yeah, you're a good fit for the magazine. Let's do a story.
Well deserved.
So yeah, that's one of the things we're the most proud of because I don't think anybody has been in Oakland and Livingston County. I think we're the only ones that have made it to 2 of them.
Ooh, all right. Talk
It's
your
a lot of
talk,
hard
Tina.
work. A lot of hard work.
Love it, love it. All right, and that's what we're here for. The closing table, we talk the top producing realtors, and we want to thank Tina Peterson for her time today, for coming out and dropping some gems and giving you some game. So Tina, before we get out of here, you want to give any last words or tell the people how they can reach out to you if they're interested?
Probably the easiest way to reach out to us would be go to a website, which is tinapetersonteam.com. So that's got all of our contact information, email, and phone number. And obviously you want to have somebody that is experienced in your area working for you, and somebody that works from the heart and is worried about your best interest, not the bottom dollar for their paycheck. So that's probably all I can say. But thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Tina, it was a great conversation. I appreciate you for coming here again. And for our YouTube audience, you right there, I need you to do me a favor. Don't go nowhere. You got this far, hit the like button, hit the share button, and also hit the subscribe button. If you are listening, Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platforms, you got to do the same. Give us a like, 5-star rating, also subscribe so that you can get caught up with our latest content. And we want to always leave our audience with a question before we leave. How has your experience as a homeowner changed your perspective on finances and financial planning? Think about it. Drop your comments below. Other than that, we'll see you next time.